With the Extra Point, this is Erik McKinney, joined by Katz. Greg, we've got summer workouts going on as the players are kind of have that mindset geared towards getting ready for the fall 2021 season. Let's give your thoughts, and then I'll follow up on who you feel could be one of the most, or maybe the most improved player, looking at either production or what they, anything that they did on the field last year, and now looking ahead to this coming year.
Well, there's two ways of looking at this thing. You could say somebody who's been on the bench, who contributed a little, that really improved to the point where they're going to really be improved. Or you could look at somebody who's established, who has a reputation, some honors, yet they're going to really be improved. So when I weigh all those things, for me, it's going to be Drake Jackson. Because Drake Jackson, I know, has got honors, but there were times last year where I felt he was lost in space, where he wasn't sure quite what he was doing. There was a lot of grass when he would drop in coverage, and I wasn't sure if he was making the type of impact that he should have made. I know that when he chased quarterbacks, that are rolling right, and he's coming from the blind side, he was right there. He actually showed it a little bit in the spring showcase game. But, this is a guy that's getting a tremendous amount of preseason publicity. Preseason All-America selections. But I think he's going to have to prove it. In order for him to prove it, he's going to have to improve. And I think the areas of how much he improves and what he learned in spring ball, remember the year before he didn't have a spring ball. So now he should be more disciplined, understanding of what Todd Orlando wants done. So if he does go from, let's say, All Pac-12 to AP All-American, okay, he would be the most improved player for me, because that means there's going to be even bigger impact in gains because of him.
You went defensive lineman, outside linebacker, front seven player on defense. I'm going to go up front on offense, and I'm going to go with Jonah Monheim, the offensive lineman. There have been too many kind of casual mentions of him from the coaching staff where he's not brought up, and they find ways to talk about him. And looking back kind of through the history, that means something. It means something when coaches constantly bring you up as an example of what we want, players to be on the field and off the field, and the work that he's put in, and that kind of stuff. And so throughout spring ball, hearing that, you just kept thinking, okay, there might be a spot kind of being carved out for him, and if he can fill one of those. And so I think that he has a real shot, at right tackle, or if they find another spot for him, but to play this season. I think that he is one of those 2020 signees on that offensive line that is ready to go. And so kind of calling a shot of one of the offensive linemen getting filled by maybe somebody that you didn't expect coming into spring ball. I think he has a really good chance. I think he did well kind of in the spring game when everybody could watch him. I think he had a really good spring. Clay Helton kind of mentioned over and over and over that he was right there in that group of players, not just on the offensive line and not just on the offense, but on the entire roster, of having one of the best spring sessions during those 15 practices. So I think he is a guy that is getting better and better and better. And boy, if you have really any offensive lineman who can come in, grab a spot, lock it down, and play really well, they're automatically in the discussion here for most improved. So I think going from a guy that just didn't get a lot of time as a true freshman last year in that kind of season, being able to, again, I'm taking a shot and throwing this out that he's a big contributor. I think that's a big rise, and needed too. That would be, and maybe I'm leaning towards that a little bit because of how necessary it is for somebody on that offensive line, or somebody's on that offensive line, to really step up and play well. I think he's got it in him, and he's my pick. He's my shot at the guy I think kind of makes the biggest jump from last year to this year.